man. Oh, trouble in paradise. This is the Sam Houston football post-game show, the Bearkat Bites football post-game show. It is late. It is early. Only the sickos are up. Only the crazy people are up. Only the wild people. We happy few. Those of you all who have passed the Hawaii test, those of you all who stayed up to watch that stinker of an ending. We're going to talk about it right here. Feel free to sound off in the comments right now. Get in here right now. Sam Houston loses 37-20. Sam Houston loses 37-20. Let me go ahead and tell you something right now. Let me tell you something, okay? It is late, so we're going to have a hard out at about 3:45, and it decreases, the few of the comments we get, things like that, all right? I've got a few points that I want to hit, and if you want to talk about them, feel free to jump in, and I'll get to them. But right now, man, Sam Houston out there in Hawaii, I got to see them. They were enjoying some of the beach and some of the sights and things that Hawaii has to offer. That's great. I heard they're not leaving until Monday or Tuesday. The broadcast said Tuesday, but then it was Monday. I don't know. Very interesting broadcast, by the way. Let me talk about some of that very interesting broadcast. The play-by-play guys that they have there for the Hawaii games for Spectrum Sports are very, very good. They're very, very strong. I really liked what they were doing. Very knowledgeable guys. One of the guys, Rick Milano or something like that. His name escapes me. He played for the Eagles, I believe, and he knows his stuff. He's a ball knower. Really good stuff. If you were able to watch the broadcast, because I had to pull it up on my phone, the app that they told me to download on the TV did not have the game for whatever strange reason. So that led me to download the app, and it was all right there. So that all worked out. So I didn't have too many problems with the broadcast. I know a lot of people did, but if you're able to watch it, you saw a pretty good, very well made broadcast. I learned a lot about Hawaii during the breaks, so there was that. Sam Houston walked into the stadium. There were lots of those novelty foam hats. It was Go Western Country Day because they figured that they were welcoming in some folk from Texas. Well, they were welcoming in some country folk. I spent a lot of time in East Texas. East Texas is in my blood, my family, So, hey, that was interesting. What was not interesting was a lot of the game. It was just not very good for Sam Houston. It was a carbon copy, really. This thing was an entire carbon copy of the UNLV game, complete with the quarterback questions, complete with the okay defensive play. We saw another decent game from the linebackers. They still cannot get a pass rush. There's all those things. But it was pretty much a carbon copy, complete with the quarterback questions, complete with the freaking quarterback questions. All right. And that's the big thing with Phil Longo here right now. Now, Phil Longo talked about, excuse me. It is late. Bear with me. Sorry. But Phil Longo talked about how, this was a, after the loss against UNLV and even during the week leading up to this game, he talked about how Landon Locke needs to get ready as well. And Landon, well, Phil in the future right there, right? Remember that Disney Channel movie, Phil of the Future, show, whatever, Phil of the Future? Yeah, Phil in the future, Phil Longo in the future. And that's what ended up happening. I told you all on our weekly broadcast, by the way, that on the weekly podcast, that this was Phil Longo's ideal quarterback depth chart. But the problem is they're not developed yet. That's the real problem with both of these quarterbacks. Now, the big story, obviously, is Mabry Matoyer announces the starter. Hunter Watson did not even suit up. And so the depth chart was Matoyer, then Locke, and Matoyer. Very vicious hit by this Giovanni guy, this guy for Hawaii. A lot of dirty hits from Hawaii, and very impressive of Sam Houston to show fight, to show that, hey, we support our guy. But when they were told, hey, just stand down, don't worry about that, that was good. Let me tell you something. The way that Hawaii plays that type of dirty type of play, that is going to hurt them in a couple of games. That's going to cost them from getting to where they really want to go. You mark my words. But I digress. The whole thing about it is that knocked out Matoyer out of the game, that put in Locke. And Matoyer, second straight game with a pick six. He's out there struggling. He takes a long time to methodically read these defenses. Some people said he looked like a deer in headlights. I don't know that it's quite that. He's not even really comfortably reading the defense. He's reading and dissecting it as best he can. Now the question is, does that come with development and you'll be able to do it quicker? But for what it's worth, we saw Landon Locke get in there and through the use of the shovel pass looked a lot more comfortable on a drive when the game was kind of still in the balance a little bit, right? A little bit. So that's interesting. So there will be questions. There will be lots and lots of questions about the quarterbacks this week. There'll be lots of questions, I'm sure. Let me check here. Let's do this live quickly. Let's see. Do we see anything? Do our friends at Sam Houston Sports Talk have anything for us as far as these injuries here? Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Make sure you're jumping on in the comments as well. Let's see what we got here. I don't see anything. I don't see any talk about it. I don't see it. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that this week. They are on the bye. Phil Longo, there is not the weekly media availability during the bye week. And I'm sure Phil Longo is like, thank God, So there is that. So there's that. By the way, the defense, they're improved. They did some better things, but it's just still kind of the same problems. They're still on the field too long. There's still too many times, even when the game is in the balance and they should be ready to go in at full speed, that they're not getting off the field on third down. There's still those problems. So again, just a carbon copy. Now, it was a little bit different from the defense this time in that they decided to rush five. Five guys were being rushed. Jameer Diaz, before he got gassed and winded, he was able to really affect some things and make some good things happen, particularly when they brought him down on the line of scrimmage. So people were wondering through those first two games, what adjustments are we going to see? And there were adjustments. The problem is it's still leading to the same result. The question is now they have to ask this over the bye week as they enter it. What do they do now? What happens after this? What happens now that the adjustments have been made, but nothing has really changed? Well, now you take the bye week and you hope that some things get better. Now you take the bye week and hope that this stops happening. This is the third straight 17-point loss. Third straight time that they have not covered that spread. So, and that really kind of shows you what kind of team they are when they can't even cover. When they just, and now this was, I think, now on the broadcast, they said it was about 7.5. I had seen 6.5 when I did the preview with Chris Yandick out in Las Vegas when I did my previews. And you can see those at the links in the description, by the way. When we talked about that. So they either whether it was 7.5 or 6.5, the spread, they are not covering, even approaching or coming close to it. They're not doing it at all. So the good news is that there is a bye week. The good news is that you do have time to kind of look at this stuff and see what happens, because you got to come back against Texas. And the even better news in a way is that you're playing Texas. Just, don't look like complete crap. That's all you're really trying to do against them. Don't look like complete crap. The way the offense is playing, I don't know if they would get across the 50-yard line with Texas right now. But the way that Arch Manning is playing, Texas might just score 30 points. well, they hung what, 31, I think, or something like that on San Jose State. Sam Houston's a more inferior team. The final could be like 55-0. I could see Texas with this last warm-up that 55-0. Let me see Texas's schedule as we do one brief look ahead. We're gonna, as we wind it down here, and if you got comments, let me know. But we're gonna start to kind of wind it down. If not, let me see Texas's schedule here. Let's see what we've got. 1 second, bear with me. Well, they got UTEP next week, then Sam Houston. They've got 3 gimmies, but they started off with a banger against Ohio State, right? So that's kind of fair. Then they're at Florida. Wow, by the way, Florida looked like terrible today. Florida really let me down. I had them covering, and they let them win. And they let South Florida beat them in Gainesville, in the swamp. Billy Napier. But anyways, we'll see what happens with Sam Houston. We'll see what happens. Make sure you all click the links in the description. If you want the Sam Houston t-shirt, there's 2 ways to get it. Make sure you look down there and see the 2 ways to get it. One of the ways involves this t-shirt and a free holiday item. So you all make sure you hop on there and check that out. We'll see you all next time. Take care. Be safe. All college football is good college football. We passed the Hawaii test.